Hey, and welcome guys to another tutorial. Now today's tutorial is going to be over tower defense, and the first thing that I want to say is I went through and started looking at some of this code, and I'm fine with some of it, others not so much. But a lot of times, you got to get stuff working and then refactor it and refactor it. I mean, my own personal project, I've probably refactored that within the course of a year, probably about 6, 7 times, because I finally know what I want to do with something, and then I change the code, and then I got to change some more code, and sometimes it becomes a hairy mess, and other times it's pretty awesome. You just got to work with it, right? So I looked at this 2-point class, and I look at all these functions here, okay? It's kind of a hairy line and things like that. I mean, I got a target and it's not null, so it's okay, I guess. But this is supposed to be a targeting function. It's doing a lot. It's doing a lot. I mean, a lot. And I'm not I'm not sold on it. So I am officially probably going to be working on this project for a while, and I decided to do me a base class again. Base TD. And what this base TD is going to be is another inherited class, but this is going to do a lot more stuff. Now, I don't know about you, but if you look at this 2-point thing, and you take this line right here, this line right here, these lines right here highlighted. These, you're looking at a target, you're doing this Euler angle stuff so that you can feed it into this stuff, okay? And you're like, man, this is a lot of friggin' work, man. This is a lot of friggin' work. And you're right, it is a lot of work. Why are we doing it? Why? And I keep looking at it and I'm like, do we have to? Do we have to have all these lines right here? Now, the traditional sense is no. I mean, yeah, it's a small function right here and everything else, but this movement stuff, this is an excessive line to me. This looks like a perfect candidate for a function, a specific function to do something. And that's awesome because that's the way my head works, but it is what it is. So in our tower, I made it abstract again. This is like a base TV, base tower defense, which just holds stuff. Now, I have this full range thing. And what this does is uses a helper and uses a target. It looks at the target and gives a vector 3 to lerp toward, because you need a vector 3 to manipulate your transform and make it into it. So in our TD class, the newer version of it, we will be taking our Euler angles and lerping it towards something. But you're probably looking at this, well, target values dot 0 and then 1. Why do we have this here? This is part of the 2-point system right here. But look at this. We've got this target values equals target tower 2 point, which takes a helper, and a target. And you're probably thinking in your head the same thing I was. Look at this. Helper, and they both look at something. And I'm like, you're probably thinking the same thing I am. Well, why don't we just do, these can be in the function. Yeah, that's great. And then we have our Euler angle. But down here, if you actually look at it, we're just taking this slurp, taking our head transform, and putting it toward our head helper transform. You know, the rotation of it, because that's what we care about. We want to rotate it around and that kind of stuff, right? And this is basically, these lines are for the head, this is for the body. All right, two separate things. That's fine. But this right here is for manipulating the transform. Why manipulate it if you can actually make it just do something instead? That's why I was like, full range helper dot Euler angle. This is the full range. So whatever this head helper turns to, it will give us a vector 3 out of it. So I take a vector 3 helper transform Euler angles, which is a vector 3, and then I return it. So it's expecting a vector 3 in return. But look, I have the head helper here and the target. I have this targeting right here. So it does all the work it needs to. Doesn't care, doesn't do anything else. And I just return it into my basic tower. Because this is just an array of vector 3s, okay? It's no different than just sitting here and just calling tower values. Because you have your head, which we never messed with yet. Okay, when we get to this line, we haven't messed with it yet until we get to this point right here. This is what it's supposed to be lerping toward, okay, at a rate and time dot delta time. So the helper has already moved and done its calculations here, okay, because target values is an array of vector 3s, and we just have all this stuff go in there to do all that vector work for us, and then we just lerp toward them. It's just a body transform and head transform. And in the 2-point system, the reason why we have to manipulate something is because you don't want your body of your model to go, you know, to pitch upward and downward. You want to force it to stay a certain way. The helpers, we don't care about the helpers. They can tilt any which way they want, except we care about the left and the right. That's the body. We want the body to go left and right. But we don't want the head to just, you know, go left to right. We want it to just steadily turn, and then the head goes up and down, but the body just rolls around. It makes it really nice looking. So we're going to have to do all the calculations and then work toward them. That's where our 2-point system right here, this is where I was taking the functions out of it. We can just delete that now. Don't need it. And we're up here to the code. And this is the 2-point system that does the exact same manipulations. We take a head transform, the helper, the body helper, and we have a target. We take each helper and look at the target, the way it's supposed to go, okay? And this tells the transform, just look at it. It'll give you the perfect angle and everything, but it just jerks it. It doesn't care. It just goes, womp, and I look at you. It's like there's no delay, there's no interpolation or anything else. We create a vector 3 G, which this is supposed to not hit the garbage collection, but new vector 3 does. I'm pretty sure that's how it works out. So we just do a temporary variable of vector 3 G. You know, we can call this temp or whatever, but it doesn't matter. And in our 2-point system, we was forcing these values right here, okay? The body transform, blah. We don't have to do that no more. We can literally go in the first point of the array. Why does this look like this has a problem with this? This should work. Use of unassigned. What? Zero. Oh, that's. Oh. Ew. That's right. I think I actually have to initialize this as a length. That would suck. Can I just put 2 in here? And it'd be fine with that? No, it won't. That's sucky. This may not work the way I want to. It's not. Equals. Would that work? I probably have to put a new vector 3. And probably initialize it to 2, right? Yeah. That's kind of a bummer. But it wouldn't be that much garbage collecting, really. It wouldn't, because no, actually it wouldn't. Actually, the even better way, now that I think about it, is since in our tower we have vector 3s already, why don't we just pass these into it to get around that? So we don't have to initialize them, we already have them. So up here, we'll go up here, and we'll require a vector 3 array of G, okay? So we no longer have to do this, okay? Now we already have a vector 3. So we completely bypass all that generation stuff. It has to be the length of 2 though. So you will have to go up here and initialize it equals vector 3 and initialize it as 2. And that's fine. That'll work. What? Oh, yeah. Duh. And this initializes so it's always the length of 2. Okay? Which, if you were messing with it without, without knowing it, then there would be an issue. But these aren't public. These are variables put here that are private to this class just to do one specific job. Now it's complaining down here, and the reason why it's complaining is because of it's requiring an array, because we passed the array and then it exists here. It's not going to do a new anymore. Not what I had in mind when I first started it, but I didn't realize it had a problem with it. because it's not an initialized length, which kind of sucks when it came to that. But to each its own. So now we have the same thing. We're just doing the same thing. Lerp the head, lerp the body. The heavy work is being done here. Because this array is initialized already to 2, we can go in here, manipulate the first variable. We know it's going to be the head helper. So we manipulate it through vector3.set. This is a vector3 and we use .set. The reason why we do set is because the vector already exists. We don't need a new one. Okay? If we did a new one, it would hit the CG, which is bad because then it's garbage collection, and then it wouldn't be bad if it was just one. Alright? You could live with that. But if you have, let's say, 20 towers, and every single frame 20 towers has a target in sight, that means 20 times you're saying new vector 3. Could you imagine what your CG collection would look like? That would suck. So we use something that's not going to hit it. Okay? And we manipulate that right here. Our head helper, X, we want that. Our body helper, transform.y, we want that. And 0. And then we set the second value, which is for the body. Okay? We do 0, body, transform.y. The y is okay. We want that value. And then put 0 for the end. Because that's the z. That's forward and back, I believe. Which we don't care about that, so we just zero it out. And then we return the array again. So basically, we're sending an array and returning it. But this does all the manipulation that we need, which is very important for one specific reason. Instead of looking at something like this and then just making a mistake like this little period here, and then we have to look through 6 lines of code. Well, this gets harder to debug the more stuff you need to do here, because if one of your transforms isn't doing what it needs to do, in this type of system, it would be hard to go, hey, this isn't working because of this. Okay, so you're working in here, and then, oh, this code down here does something else. Maybe it's this in here. Maybe it's not called all at once. You know, there's a lot of things that could go wrong having it like this. You could accidentally delete one of these lines and then go, what the heck's going on? You know? But if you go to a system like this, well, the head's doing something, okay? The body does something. Both of them lerping. So you know that's cool. So you're like, well, if it's a problem with the values, then you know to go into your base thing and look at this stuff. This, simple to debug. The other stuff, not so much. I mean, yeah, you could do it, but if moving around's the problem in this 2-point system that you have, you know it's here. If it's just moving, period, you know it's here. Separating it, making it maybe easier. Who knows? So that is a full range motion, something if you only need to move one thing and pivot it up and down and left and right, then you have a system for each one. The full range for the head will give you a vector 3 to interpolate with, and your 2-point system where you need to manipulate 2 different things, 2-point. Simple as that. I mean, pretty basic. Pretty easy to tackle. So you don't have stuff that looks like this in your code. If I got rid of this and put the other thing, it would look a lot easier. Easier, easier, easier. Firing code, This is the update. Range, this is a headache to me. This is not something that I really like. It's because target, I would have some type of bool for the range compared to max range to fire targeting. I would definitely change up a lot of this, and I probably will. But that will be in some later videos because it's already been 20 some minutes for 2 functions. And, it may not be something that you guys want to see. I don't know. We'll see on how many views and comments and stuff like that. Tower defense may not interest the entire channel, or may just interest all of you. So we're going to have to look at that and see how it goes. So let me know if you guys want more refactoring and stuff of this. So like, hit, subscribe, do the YouTube stuff. And this is War Done, over and out for some sleep. Peace out and take care, guys.